All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating, kind of mind-bending psychological mystery at the heart of Jack Finney's classic sci-fi story, The Third Level. We'll be looking at how an ordinary guy's daily commute turns into a literal journey through time. And we're going to unpack exactly what this brilliant narrative tells us about the human mind's desperate need to find a safe haven. It's this incredible blend of sci-fi and psychological fantasy, and I am so excited to break it all down for you. Here's our quick roadmap for today. We're going to hit the desire to escape, the chaos of Grand Central, the 1894 refuge, the skeptic turned believer, and wrap up with reality or fantasy. Let's get to it. Starting off with Section 1, the desire to escape. Take a look at this illustration. It literally captures the sheer anxiety of our protagonist, Charlie. He's a 31-year-old New Yorker, and he's not fighting off aliens or monsters. He's just completely crushed by the modern world. He's this emotionally vulnerable guy who really just wants to get home to his practical, supportive wife, Louisa. But man, the weight of his environment is simply too heavy. And his psychiatrist friend, Sam Weiner, actually hits the nail on the head here. When Charlie tells him about his bizarre experiences, Sam doesn't just write him off as crazy. Instead, he diagnoses it as a waking dream wish fulfillment. Sam is clearly laying out exactly what Charlie, and honestly, what a lot of us are running from. You know, that constant, unavoidable hum of modern anxiety and insecurity. So that brings us to the absolute core of all this, escapism. When everyday life gets to be just too much to bear, the human mind needs a safety valve. For Charlie, at first, it's stamp collecting, a quiet hobby his grandfather started back when things were nice and peaceful. But as we're going to see, Charlie's brain requires a much, much bigger escape hatch than just looking at old postage stamps. Moving right along to Section 2, the chaos of Grand Central. Check out how the station's architecture here is depicted almost like the trunk and roots of a massive tree. It's really interesting because Charlie actually sees Grand Central as this living, almost monstrous entity. It's not just a transit hub. It's a place of immense complexity that feels designed to swallow you whole. He talks about constantly bumping into new doorways and corridors, getting completely lost. I mean, he once popped up a mile away in a hotel lobby. It's wild. He literally says it's growing like a tree, believing the station is just constantly pushing out new staircases deep underground. It's such a vivid metaphor for the oppressive, tangled mess of his daily commute. It represents the escapable nature of modern life, a place where you're constantly moving, constantly rushing, but somehow always feeling totally lost. And here's the huge contrast that drives the entire narrative. On one side, you have the dark, endless maze of the modern station. On the exact opposite side, the absolute peace, simplicity, and emotional comfort of Galesburg, Illinois back in 1894. This friction between the chaotic life he's stuck in and the peaceful life his brain is begging for, that's the real engine of the story. All right, Section 3, the 1894 refuge. So Charlie wanders down an unexpected flight of stairs and instantly knows something is off. The lights are dim, there are flickering open-flame gas lamps, brass spittoons on the floor, and everyone's rocking derby hats and handlebar mustaches. To prove he isn't losing it, he checks a stack of papers at a newsboy's feet. He spots the lead story on President Cleveland in an issue of The World, a paper that had been out of print for years. He even checks the library files later to confirm the exact date, June 11, 1894. Absolutely mind-blowing. Suddenly, he's fully immersed in this vintage world of leg-of-mutton sleeves and tiny Courier and Ives locomotives, and he realizes he can buy a ticket anywhere. And all he wants is 2 tickets to Galesburg for him and his wife. Why? Because to Charlie, Galesburg represents a world where summer evenings are twice as long, people actually have time to relax, and crucially, World War I is still 20 years away. It is his ultimate psychological refuge. Just look at the visual parallel here. On the left, you've got these towering, repetitive, anxiety-inducing facades of the modern city block. But on the right, those exact same shapes are mirrored in the peaceful, massive trees lining the avenues of Galesburg. It beautifully juxtaposes the panic-inducing architecture of the city with the protective, tree-lined canopy of the past. He's literally trying to transform his towering anxieties into towering comforts. Which brings us to Section 4, the skeptic turned believer. Let's trace exactly how this unfolds. Charlie tries to buy his tickets in 1894, right? But the clerk rejects his modern money and actually threatens him with jail time. So Charlie bolts back to the present, pulls out his entire life savings, and buys old-style currency at a premium, which, by the way, seriously worries his psychiatrist, Sam. But when Charlie goes back to Grand Central, he can never find that hidden corridor again. And then, out of nowhere, the highly rational Sam Weiner vanishes without a trace. Now here is where the twist hits you. Charlie is sorting through his stamp collection, which Sam originally brushed off as just a temporary refuge from reality. Well, Charlie is looking through his first-day covers, and inside an envelope mailed to his grandfather, he finds a letter that should not physically exist. It's from Sam, dated July 18, 1894, from Galesburg, telling Charlie the third level is real and to keep looking.
Talk about irony, right? Sam had bought $800 worth of old-style currency to set up a little hay, feed, and grain business. The very professional who diagnosed Charlie with waking dream wish fulfillment used his own life savings to escape into that exact same fantasy. Why? Because Sam knew that in a peaceful, worry-free town like 1894 Galesburg, nobody needs a psychiatrist. The ultimate skeptic became the ultimate escapist.
Finally, Section 5, Reality or Fantasy. Before we finish up, here's a quick structured breakdown of the hard facts you definitely need to remember for your revision. The author is Jack Finney. It's a brilliant blend of sci-fi and fantasy. The driving theme is clearly escapism, and the third level itself stands as the ultimate symbol of a psychological refuge.
So I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. The ending is totally ambiguous. Did Charlie and Sam literally find a tear in time and physically travel back to 1894? Or is the human mind just that incredibly powerful when it so desperately needs a place to hide from the fear and chaos of the modern world? Can it literally reshape reality and perception? Think about that for a second. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep questioning the reality around you.